Hey guys, welcome back to Techly Yours. So today we are going to see some important React.js questions for interview preparation. If you haven't subscribed my channel, please go and like and subscribe the channel. So let's start with the React.js questions. So first is why can't we update state directly in React? So simply if interviewer asks you such questions, so you should be saying if we directly update the state in React, then we may not detect the changes, and in React it is very important that component re-render if there is any value change. So if directly updating that, the change is not detected. So the correct format, if whenever we are doing any state update, it is set count 5. That means we have to use useState. With the useState we have the updated value and we know when the value is being changed so that the component can re-render. Second one is what happens if you call set state multiple times. So that means you are calling the same function and again. So the React batches state updates for performance. This is the functionality of the React, and multiple updates may be combined into a single re-render. So for the example, we have taken like set count, then we have written count plus 1, then again if you read it, so what will happen if the same function will be called multiple times, then this may increase only by 1, not 2. So what is the correct approach? We have to use any variable, like we have used pref. So in the set count function we can write it like pref plus 1. Okay, so we don't have to bother about this count, it will correctly update the value each time. Then next is what is the difference between use effect and use layout effect. So whenever we want to render the DOM update, we will be using use effect, and if we want to run browser it before the browser pane, we have to use layout. So use effect is non-blocking, but use layout is blocking. So in case you have an app where you want to block the UI until the whole data or any API call has not been success, we can use layout effect. But if we want that it is non-blocking and the user can see the UI at least, then we have to use effect. So basically use effect is used for API calls, and whenever we want to make any UI changes according to the DOM measurements, we will be using use layout effect. So what is reconciliation in React? So this is basically a process to compare the virtual DOM with the previous version, and we will be updating only the change part. So it is not have like that whenever there is a small change the whole page we will reroll, it will not happen. So that is the concept of React. Then other next question is what happens if you update state inside use effect without dependency array. So what is that? The syntax is use effect, and you have directly put set count plus 1 without comma and the square bracket, that is a dependency array. So the square bracket you see, two square bracket, within that whatever you write, that is a dependency array. So basically what happen if you write anything inside that, so the browser will check if there is any changes. So whatever function is written here, it will recall according to those values. But if nothing is written here, like we have that question, so infinite re-render loop will happen, and this will cause infinite re-render loop, because component re-render, use effect runs, state updates, component re-render again, effect runs again. So it will keep on looping, so never keep it like this. Then we have one of the important question, like how events are handled in React. So basically in React, whenever we have to write any event, we write in the form of JSX. So this I have like explained in my previous videos, you can go and check it out. So what are JSX? These are handlers that are function to respond user action, like whenever the user clicks, maybe he's typing, he's dragging, drop anything, he has done any kind of mouse movement, so we check those with the help of functions. So React uses synthetic event system, which is a wrapper around the browser's native event system for better cross browser compatibility. So React has its own synthetic event system. This is the main point and the key word here. So for example, if suppose you have to give the example, then you can directly say, you can show it like this, like, oh, we have any button click, then we have like handle button click, and whenever user press on any button, so how we will handle, we can show an alert like button clicked, and this can we can return it like this, button on click, and we are giving this handle click functionality. Okay, so here you can explain on click is the event handler attribute. This is the main thing, and handle click is the function which will execute when the event occurs. So whenever this is the thing, like what we want to handle and how we want to handle is this function which we have just put a alert like that. Okay, then we have how we can prevent default behavior. So this is the important thing. It is not like we want the browser default functionality, sometime we want to prevent it. So we can use prevent defaults, which is similar to JavaScript, like e dot prevent default. So this you can directly say. And then we have some events and what are their usage. So if on click is used, the usage is button click. On change is used, input field change. On submit, form submission. If we are hovering a mouse, so then we will be using on mouse over. If we are pressing any keyboard key, then on keyboard down, key down. Okay, then we have one of the most important concept, that is synthetic events. So as I mentioned earlier, like in the how events are handled in React, so React has its own synthetic event system. So this is a cross browser wrapper around native events. So what are the benefits? It works the same across all browser, like it has same functionality, and then better performance is there, and consistent API calls. So this is one of the main concept, like synthetic events. So you can make notes of this all question, and in my further upcoming videos I'll share more such React Native, React JS or JavaScript questions. So do follow, subscribe and like the channel. Thank you very much. Happy learning.